A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John, chapter 7, verses 40 to 53. The passage is taken from the Message version of the Bible. Those in the crowd who heard these words were saying, "This has to be the prophet." Others said, "He is the Messiah." But others were saying, "The Messiah doesn't come from Galilee, does he? Don't the scriptures tell us that the Messiah comes from David's line and from Bethlehem, David's village?" So there was a split in the crowd over him. Some went so far as wanting to arrest him, but no one laid a hand on him. That's when the temple police reported back to the high priests and Pharisees, who demanded, "Why didn't you bring him with you?" The police answered, "Have you heard the way he talks? We've never heard anyone speak like this man." The Pharisees said, "Are you carried away like the rest of the rabble? You don't see any of the leaders believing in him, do you? Or any from the Pharisees? It's only this crowd, ignorant of God's law, that is taken in by him and damned." Nicodemus, the man who had come to Jesus earlier and was both a ruler and a Pharisee, spoke up. "Does our law decide about a man's guilt without first listening to him and finding out what he is doing?" But they cut him off. "Are you also campaigning for the Galilean? Examine the evidence. See if any prophet ever comes from Galilee." The Gospel of the Lord.
Let us now listen to a short reflection on the Holy Gospel according to St. John chapter 7, verses 40 to 53. Recognizing God beside you. Father Paulson Veliyanoor recalls the inspiring story of Blessed Franz Jägerstätter to explain the ability of the humans to fill their heads with the knowledge of God, but yet fails to experience God in their hearts. When Blessed Franz Jägerstätter, an ordinary farmer in an obscure Austrian village, refused to take the oath of allegiance to Hitler or serve in his army during the World War II, he was arrested, tried, and condemned to death for sedition. A few days before he was guillotined, the prison chaplain visited him and offered the New Testament to him. But Franz politely refused the Bible, saying, "I am completely bound in inner union with the Lord, and any reading would only interrupt my communication with my God." The temple officials of Jesus' time missed the Messiah because they had their heads buried in the scriptures and knew them too well to recognize the Messiah when he walked among them in person. Throughout history, many individuals in positions of power, ranging from the time of Jesus to the present day, have held on to the belief that their power and prestige are absolute and unending. The religious leadership of Jerusalem could not digest the growing popularity of Jesus, and ultimately they would get rid of him. False accusations, unjust detentions, and unfair trials and wrong sentencing are nothing uncommon even in our times. The cry of the suffering majority for justice and the right to live in dignity is suppressed by the powerful minority. This minority will determine the future of the hapless majority. This is the logic of this world. The dictators and the emperors of the past have disappeared. Yet, Jesus and his church live, giving God's life to the world.